Picture the stifling, heavy August heat in Westfield, Indiana. You can literally feel the tension radiating off the practice field. We are looking at a franchise standing squarely on a razor's edge. The Indianapolis Colts are marching into a 2026 season that is, without a doubt, going to permanently define the legacy of this entire front office and coaching staff. This isn't just your standard summer training camp where guys are just knocking off the rust. Not even close. The pressure inside that building is absolutely suffocating right now. Jobs are quite literally on the line. Hundreds of millions of dollars are hanging in the balance. We all know that championship rosters are forged or completely broken in the grueling, unforgiving heat of August. And right now, the Colts are playing a massive, incredibly high-stakes game of chess with their personnel, their salary cap, and frankly, their ultimate future in the AFC. We're dropping you right onto the turf to uncover the critical storylines that the casual fans are completely missing.
Look, you know as well as I do that everything, absolutely everything in the National Football League begins and ends with the man under center. So let's start immediately with the most compelling, high-stakes, and honestly, utterly unpredictable storyline unfolding on the field right now. We have a battle for the starting quarterback job that is completely tearing up the preseason script. Who really commands the Colts offense? The answer to that single question is sending massive shockwaves through the entire depth chart.
I mean, just look at the staggering contrast between these two athletes right now. On one hand, you have Daniel Jones. Let's rewind for a second. Late in the 2025 season, Jones suffered a devastating Achilles tear. History, biology, basically common sense tells us that quarterbacks do not just magically bounce back from that specific injury. It usually severely limits mobility and power. Yet, here he is. Against all medical odds, Jones is looking incredibly fresh. I mean, he is completely dialed in, is displaying an absolute total mastery of head coach Shane Steichen's offense. It's almost eerie. It's as if the Achilles injury never even happened. The front office took a massive calculated gamble betting on his return to form, and suddenly, they look like absolute geniuses. But then, on the flip side of the coin, you have Anthony Richardson, the former 4th overall pick, the guy drafted to be the savior. Right now, he is actually rotating with the second team, locked in a dogfight for a backup role against Riley Leonard, and the craziest part is, Richardson is still being plagued by the exact same demons that have kept him from locking down the franchise role. Has he shown flashes? Absolutely. He had this moment where he climbed the pocket and just effortlessly delivered a 50-yard touchdown bomb to Samir Higgins. Pure, unteachable brilliance. But the pre-snap reads, the post-snap processing, it remains frustratingly hot and cold. The down-to-down consistency just isn't there. So while Richardson's rookie window starts to cast a really concerning shadow over his future, Daniel Jones is out there aggressively seizing absolute control of this football team.
Section 1. Camp winners and losers.
Moving past the quarterbacks, the first week of padless practices has drawn a brutal, unforgiving line in the sand, and nowhere is that more obvious than the kicking competition. Kickers live on an absolute island, and right now, Spencer Schrader is watching his job slip right through his fingers. Schrader established himself as a really reliable option early in 2025, but Blake Group is absolutely stealing the momentum right now. In their first major head-to-head session, Group was flawless, 6 for 6. He casually drilled kicks from 32, 40, and even 55 yards out, just splitting the uprights. Meanwhile, Schrader stepped up for a highly pressurized 50-yard attempt and pushed it wide left. In a league where a single game, a single kick, can literally mean the difference between hosting a playoff game and cleaning out your locker in January, Group's lethal deep accuracy is making him the heavy favorite entering Week 2.
Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball. Secondary coach Chris Hewitt is quickly emerging as one of the biggest early winners of this entire camp. Guys, this defensive backfield doesn't just look good, they look downright terrifying. I'm dead serious. The Colts have somehow assembled a starting cornerback trio of Sauce Gardner, Shavarius Ward Sr., and Justin Wally. Think about that for a second. That is a group with the raw man-to-man talent to completely erase elite wide receivers and essentially shut down half the football field. And it doesn't stop there. You add in the highly reliable veteran Cam Bynum roaming deep at free safety, and then you've got this fierce, violent battle at strong safety between second-year man Hunter Wohler and rookie A.J. Halsey. This entire unit is just flying to the football. They're breaking up passes, they're talking trash, and they are playing with the exact kind of physical swagger that championship defenses are built on.
Bouncing back to the offense, there is a quiet, under-the-radar development that casual observers are completely missing, but I promise you, it is deeply crucial for this team's rhythm. The receiver room hasn't generated a ton of flashy hype, but veteran Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is methodically becoming the reliable safety valve this system desperately needs. Look, Steichen's offense is incredibly complex. It demands immense, precise execution regarding timing and route depths. You can't just freelance. After a pretty quiet first 2 days, Westbrook-Akine has burst onto the scene during full 11-on-11 drills. He's pulling down really tough, contested grabs in heavy traffic, proving to the coaching staff that he can be that highly trusted target when the pocket inevitably collapses and the quarterback needs an outlet.
But you know what? Perhaps the biggest, loudest sigh of relief echoing through the Colts front office isn't about a spectacular catch or a deep field goal or even a quarterback throwing a bomb. It is entirely about who actually showed up to work. We all vividly remember the absolute circus of Jonathan Taylor's 2023 offseason. The bitter contract standoff, the hold-in, the massive distraction it placed on the entire building, literally dominating every single press conference. This year, complete business-like silence. Taylor is in camp, he has his helmet on, he is working. His decision to just put his head down and avoid those past antics is fantastic news for a regime facing a make-or-break year. And frankly, they need him more than ever. Why? Because backups DJ Giddens and Seth McGuana are really struggling to prove their worth on vital third-down pass protection situations right now. Having an elite back like Taylor locked in, happy, and ready to carry the offensive load provides massive foundational stability.
Section 2. The underrated defensive anchor.
Okay, let's dive into a really subtle front office chess move that could entirely shift the balance of power in the AFC trenches. Earlier this offseason, the Colts shocked a lot of local fans when they traded away their starting middle linebacker, the guy who was the mic and the vocal defensive leader, Zaire Franklin, shipping him off to the Green Bay Packers. The public narrative was super simple. Indianapolis was just dumping a heavy contract before a looming payday, moving on from a player who honestly took a noticeable step back last season. But they received defensive tackle Colby Wooden in a player-for-player swap. Most talking heads cast this aside as just a minor depth move, a total blip on the radar. Well, they couldn't have been more wrong. Securing Wooden in this exchange is starting to look like an absolute highway robbery by general manager Chris Ballard.
Casual fans might have glossed over it, but the film doesn't lie. Last year in Green Bay, Wooden started 16 games. He was quietly one of their most reliable, remarkably consistent interior run defenders. We're talking 50 tackles and 6 tackles for loss from the interior of the line. He isn't just some random camp body holding a tackling dummy for the starters. He is a battle-tested, highly physical force in the trenches. Think about the modern NFL. Stopping the run on early downs dictates the entire flow and play calling of the game. So acquiring a legitimate starting-caliber trench warrior in exchange for a declining linebacker, that is an absolute masterclass in roster building.
And his arrival unlocks something schematically brilliant for this coaching staff. By adding Wooden to an already stacked defensive line room, the defensive coordinator now has the exact personnel required to unleash a highly specialized, heavy-hitting 5-man front. Now, for those who might not be huge X's and O's nerds, a 5-man front is a tactical alignment that puts 5 massive defenders directly on the line of scrimmage. The entire goal is to completely physically overwhelm offensive blocking schemes. It forces the offensive line into one-on-one matchups across the board. It completely eliminates the possibility of double teams, and it suffocates the run game before the running back even takes his second step. The Colts have been experimenting with this look exclusively during some 11-on-11 drills, and let me tell you, the early results have been utterly dominant.
Let me paint a picture of how this builds a truly terrifying blueprint in the trenches. First, right in the middle, you have the superstar DeForest Buckner. After missing 12 games over the last 2 years, dealing with those incredibly frustrating ankle and disc issues, he is finally fully cleared and ramping up. He anchors everything. Right next to him, Grover Stewart clogs the A-gap like a 300-pound brick wall. Then you layer in Colby Wooden to completely seal the run on the other side. Next to them, you've got Adetomiwa Adebawor, who has legitimately blossomed into an absolute terror as an interior pass-rushing threat, attacking the gaps. And then you cap it all off with newcomer Arden Key flying off the edge. We've already seen Wooden and Key absolutely detonate plays in the backfield together during practice. This rotation isn't just deep, it is meticulously designed to physically exhaust and mentally break opposing offensive lines for 4 straight quarters. Good luck blocking that.
Section 3. The looming contract crisis. But listen, while the defense builds this physical fortress out on the practice field, a massive franchise-altering financial storm is brewing upstairs in the front office. $24 million. Let the sheer weight of that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering new average annual salary the Atlanta Falcons just handed out to guard Matthew Bergeron. They gave him a 4-year, $96 million extension, with $60 million of it completely 100% guaranteed. With the stroke of a pen, the Falcons entirely reset the guard market, tying the record for the highest-paid player at the position in NFL history. And in doing so, they just made the Indianapolis Colts' most pressing, immediate offseason problem infinitely more expensive.
We really have to put these resumes side by side to truly understand the sheer amount of leverage at play here. Matthew Bergeron is a very, very solid football player. He is tough, he's a leader, he's exactly the kind of guy you want starting on your offensive line.
But actually comparing his career resume to Quenton Nelson's is borderline laughable. Bergeron has 0 All-Pros. None. Quenton Nelson, on the other hand, is a generational tone-setting talent. He has earned 8 consecutive Pro Bowl selections. He's literally the first player in Colts history to achieve that in his first 8 seasons. He is a 6-time All-Pro. He is the absolute heartbeat, the enforcer, and the emotional core of this Indianapolis offense. So, you have to ask yourself, if a solid, good-not-great starter like Bergeron is now commanding $24 million a year, what on earth is a future first-ballot Hall of Famer like Quenton Nelson worth right now?
The harsh financial reality comes into incredibly sharp focus when you look at the numbers. Back in 2022, Quenton Nelson signed an $80 million deal that made him the highest-paid guard in NFL history at the time. But heading into this 2026 season, which is the final year of his current contract, he is scheduled to earn a base salary of just $18 million. Look at that visual gap. There is a massive, gaping $6 million canyon between what the league's second-best interior lineman is making this year and what the newly set top of the market now demands. If an extension isn't reached soon, Nelson is scheduled to become an unrestricted free agent. And letting a foundational culture-setting piece of your franchise even sniff the open market is a massive, incredibly dangerous gamble for this front office.
For his part, Nelson is remaining the ultimate professional. When reporters put a mic in his face and asked about his looming contract talks after practice, he was completely humble. He just stated, "I haven't had any discussions. That's not up to me. I'm just really thankful to be here. Love this team, love my teammates." It's exactly the kind of grounded, team-first response you want from your captain, especially as he spends all of camp mentoring young linemen like Tanner Bortolini and Matt Goncalves. But make absolutely no mistake, his representatives are closely watching the newswire. The guard market just exploded. The Colts have to determine what his elite, consistent production is truly worth, but the price tag for Nelson's continued loyalty is skyrocketing by the minute. Big Q reset the market once before, and he has the absolute leverage to do it all over again.
Section 4. What happens next?
So here we are. We are standing at the absolute edge of a season that will undeniably define the legacy of this entire regime and chart the future of the Indianapolis Colts for years, maybe decades to come. You have Anthony Richardson under immense, mounting pressure to figure out his process and consistency before his rookie window violently slams shut. You have Colby Wooden and a fully healthy DeForest Buckner looking to absolutely revolutionize the defensive trenches with a punishing new schematic advantage that could terrorize the AFC South, and hanging ominously over all of it, like a dark cloud, is the ticking time bomb of Quenton Nelson's impending massive payday. In a pure make-or-break 2026 season, this high-stakes roster is facing immense friction from every single direction. Every single practice rep matters, every single dollar against the cap matters. The pieces are officially set on the board, the intense humidity of August is bearing down, and the tension in Westfield is absolutely palpable. Will this roster crack under the immense weight of expectations, lingering injuries, and looming contract disputes? Or will they take all of this friction, all of this pressure, and forge it into a legitimate, undeniable championship contender when the stadium lights finally come on? That is the ultimate question. To make sure you never miss a single development in this thrilling saga as the regular season approaches, you need to be locked in right here. Subscribe to the NFL Nexus channel. Hit the like button on this explainer to support these deep dives. Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Do the Colts just bite the bullet and pay Quenton Nelson whatever he demands? And who do you think ultimately wins that backup quarterback job? Support the channel and our ongoing coverage by becoming a channel member today. The 2026 season is just getting started, and we'll be right here to break it all down for you.